Hi, everybody. Dave Clark from InspectCheck.net. Today, I wanted to do a video on older electric. Okay, so this might be something that a lot of inspectors that have been around a long time, they're going to already know what I'm about to say anyway. But this is really for some newer inspectors, I would say. If you haven't been inspecting a long time and you're younger, this type of service you may not have seen. I do a lot of inspections in an older city with a lot of older stock, and we see these still. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, I've got some pictures I'm going to show you in a second, is that I was at a home inspector's meeting, and a newer home inspector said, why do people even talk about 120 volt service? 30 amp, service like that. Does that even exist anymore? And the answer is yes, it sure does. And we'll see that new service, of course, is going to be a minimum of probably 100 amps to 150. See a lot of 200 amp services, but they're all going to be 240. I mean, there's really no such thing as having a new service put in, and it's 120. At least I hope not. That could be a homeowner thing, but I don't think the electric company is going to allow for that. So for you newer inspectors, what about 120 volt service? Maybe you've not seen that and how to identify it. So I'm going to show you the first thing to look for. Let me share my screen with you. The first thing to look for is going to be outside. Okay, and I'm going to grab this. So we're on the outside of the house, and we see this. So here's here's our main service coming in overhead, right? This goes, back to the pole somewhere this way, right? I'll make that red be a little bit better. Back to the pole there. And we see that we have, in this case, there's 3 conductors being fed because maybe that was replaced at one point, but there's some still old ones out there that are only 2. But anyway, here we go. So here's 1, right? And I'm just going to put a red on that one. And that's 120 volts right there. Here's our neutral right here. There's our second, because you got to have 2, right, to make a circuit, to make it. And it's going down this weatherhead's a disaster, waiting to happen. But look at this. Now, this is coming again from the electric company. This is just tied back, all right, just tied back there. And you can see it. That's a 120 volts, just that you can see it's taped off. I could make it bigger for you if you want. You can see they just taped it off because the electric company is making that connection, saying, oh, they only have 120 volts. So if you see that, it's a problem. Now, there's not another wire coming out. If there was another wire coming out and it was just disconnected, that's even dangerous too. So we would call it out. We're going to call this out on so many different levels, but at first we're going to say we're going to call it out because it's only 120 volts because there's 1, right? So there's just 1 conductor, and that's it. This is the neutral. That's not going to count. This is the one that's not connected. So we're going to say that that's 120 volts. The weatherhead definitely needs to be replaced. This is a rusty old conduit. So, I mean, at this point, we already know that the service is going to have to be updated. Hopefully they didn't update it, but I've seen that too, where they put in a circuit panel, breakers, and they've updated it and tried to get 240 volts out of 120. I have another video. I'll show you that one. That's an interesting one. Let me show you. Now we go down the basement and we go to the main service disconnect, and I'll make that bigger too. And there's what you got, my friends. There's the meter. It's inside. Another indication there's a problem. The meter should have been moved to the outside. Many municipalities require that when the service is updated, so we know we didn't update it. And you can see that they did update the meter because it's digital. I find interesting. So it's not that old of a meter, maybe. I don't know when they came out with digital. But look, here's our service disconnect. Our main service cable is right here coming in. See it? This lower corner. And then right here is our main service disconnect, right? Or our main. It's a 30 amp fuse. That's right. They're out there. And there's nothing more. That's it. You take this off and the service is gone. Okay, so let's look further over on that panel. And let me show you this. Okay, I'll make this bigger too. Same panel. I just blocked out the other ones, but same panel. Here's our main service cable coming in right here. Let me go to red. I like that better. Comes in over here. Here's our main service disconnect. Main service disconnect. This is a 2-unit house. This goes over. This is another main service disconnect right here. Okay. Cable or conductors come out, and here they are. There's only 2. And this lever switch, again, very dangerous. These are live, right? And that's going to turn off the power. Now, again, this is the main service disconnect. This is a secondary disconnect, a lever switch, we call it. And that goes up into our main service panel, which are fuses. And that's right. This one's actually got a sub panel. See, it's more modern. It's a newer, or it's an older style sub panel. They added a couple of fuses to it. Upstairs, same thing. This one looks like it's half engaged. I'm not sure what's going on there. Not going to grab a hold of it to see. And there's our 2 conductors going in to our main service panel. Looks like this is the upstairs, maybe upper. So there's only probably 4 fuses in there. This one has 6, and then they added a couple maybe for outside. So yes, this is a relatively recent picture. They're still out there. You know, your client's going to look at this. And I remember one time I was doing this inspection like this, and the homeowner was there, and he was an older guy, and he said, "I've never blown a fuse." And then I found out that, of course, all the fuses in here were 30 amp, which is also very dangerous. But this inspection, you could explain it to your client. My biggest thing with them would be, it has to be updated. You have to get a new main service cable coming in the house. But I would stress out that this is dangerous, right? They have children and even adults. This is dangerous. We don't want any type of exposed wires or anything like that. So I'm going to show you. So how would we report on it? Just as easy. Grab inspect check. Let's go over to electric. Again, what size is it? You know, it's only, in this case, it's going to be, we're going to click this, and we're going to say 60 or 30 amps. Hello, 30 amps. And 120 volt. 30 amp, 120 volt. Okay. And we're going to say, we're going to come right over here, and the service voltage should be updated, and the service amperage should be updated. 100%, my friends, right? Going to update both of those. And the service is obsolete. Again, inspect check just automatically populates this. The service is obsolete by today's standards. Recommend evaluation and updating of this current service by a licensed electrician. Same thing here. Okay. I just want to go back here to our service supply. It's going to be for the main, right? And it's overhead, just real quick. The meter location in this case is in the basement, which should raise a flag. And the type, in this case, it was copper clad. Marked section complete. And we're not going to say it's satisfactory. Okay, so considerably frayed, insulation, big time damage to the service mast, 100%. And this is gonna tell them that the cable should be replaced. It could be potentially dangerous condition. Could also cause water to enter the main service panel. Recommend evaluation and replacement. Absolutely, it's got to be replaced. Okay, weatherhead, I don't even know what that was, right? And our main service is coming in. Our main service disconnect is going to be adjacent or at the meter, which is okay. The type of disconnect in this case is a fuse. Okay. Mark that complete. And what we're saying to them is, nope, we got to change that. Damage, unsatisfactory connections noted to main service disconnect. Amperage of main service disconnect, or I'm sorry, it needs to be replaced, right? The main service disconnect disengages. Okay, serious property damage. Okay, recommend immediate repair by a licensed electrician only. And we're going to put update older 30 amp service. And then of course we also talked about that here. Service size. We told them 30 amp, 120 volt. I'll slide down, and we're saying the service amperage should be updated. The service voltage should be updated. We're going to go to service panels real quick. Basement is where it's located. There's 2 of them. And again, we don't need to write a book here. It's pretty obvious what's going on. Fuse, they're both fuses. Sub panel, there is one, and that's located in the basement. Okay. And the disconnects are all fuses. And what we're saying is we're going to come right down to our 4th column, which is necessary repair. And we're going to put that the service panel should be updated. We're also recommended that the main service is updated, and sub panel improperly wired. That sub panel is just fuses. And that's pretty much what we really need to do. I would probably go with unsatisfactory connections, improper wiring, and I would put older service. Recommended replacing, or I actually probably updating, right? Okay, easy. Okay, unsatisfactory grounding, and we could probably go on and on here, but I think your client will understand that. Wiring is going to be older, copper clad, 240-volt circuits not noted, right? And then we're going to come all the way over to here and put improper, unsatisfactory wiring. We got knob and tube, and we would come over here and knob and tube, and it's going to tell them knob and tube wiring is obsolete. Let me come over here. Is obsolete and likely to become brittle. Knob and tube wiring is usually not grounded. Recommend a licensed electrician remove the knob and tube wiring and update with modern approved wire. Simple. Okay, some dry rot noted, considerable dry rot to the branch circuits. You're not going to have ground faults. If they are, they're probably not going to work properly, but they may give some protection. So I think that, it was a little bit longer to a little bit more information on the report, but it's basically telling our client, I think where it really boils down to is the service size. We're telling them what size it is, and we're saying that it should be updated. The only way to do that is to update the equipment also. So that is it. So I thought you'd be interested in seeing that, because I was surprised by how many younger inspectors have never seen that. And when I got posed that question by a younger inspector, another one came over and said, I've never seen that either. And I'm not picking on them. It's just that, it's been obsolete for so long. You would think, who's still got it? But trust me, it's still out there. So if you see it, that's the way that I recommend that you report it to your client. Definitely want to get rid of that and go to 240 volts and at least 100 amps, 150 maybe be even better, and 200 depending on what their needs are. So I hoped this helped some of the younger inspectors out. Please subscribe to our channel. We're putting these videos out. I've got so much information. I'd love to share it with you. So hit that subscribe button. Also, you can go to homeinspectortrainingonline.com for more, not only videos, but blogs, white papers, and things like that. So have a great day, and I'll see you next time.